I'm the author of Liberating Nigeria, a guide to winning elections and reviving our country, with forward by Femi Falana SAN. And I've started this podcast, regular podcast, in recent days, and I want to keep doing it as often as I can until election day. I've talked about um, job creation. I've talked about power, and today I just want to talk a little bit about agriculture. Um, this is a very hot topic in the political scene with little action. Um, the young people um, don't seem to appreciate this very important part of our economy, and I just want to talk a little bit about it today. Uh, to be frank, the last two governments, federal governments, have done quite good jobs. Jonathan through his his agri minister did quite well, and Buhari has done quite okay in that area. I would say there has been progress in the last two administrations, albeit especially in the first tenure of Buhari. You have the Anchor program, a lot of northern agri, a lot of small farmers in the north got a lot of help. There was a lot of corruption in the scheme, but the fact is that uh, that scheme helped small farmers grow, especially in the north, where most of the farming actually happened. Now, I also know that in recent years, there have been certain private investors, coming into that sector, some kind of, you know, modernized type of investment, and that's cool. But I just want to highlight again that every country every developed country takes agri very seriously. I also talked about agriculture in my book. I discussed a lot of topics, and I highlighted what China did, China Mao, talked about America. Agri is a national security issue. Uh, you must have sustainable food supply to feed your people. And in terms of what if you know there's war and you're not able to import, you must have enough. And I give one example today, where Ghana is maybe producing 20% over 20% of the world's yam. Nigeria is producing over 70%. Ghana is exporting maybe 95%, over 90% of the yam getting into the United States. Question: a small, tiny country like Ghana producing just about 20% uh, of the world's yam is able to export massively to the US, and we're not able to do the same. It just tells you that we still have a long way to go in agri. As this election approaches, I like electors to ask gubernatorial candidates, what exactly do you want to do about agri? And ask the presidential candidates. There was one presidential candidate I was talking about, Gary Mays. I don't think he was articulating properly, but I'm surprised that the young people turned that into a joke. The the fellow should have articulated better, because I don't really understand what those are trying to say. But the joke about our Greek shows we don't understand, what can really develop our economy. Our Greek is like number one. We talk about technology all the time. I'm sorry to say to the young people, tech for me is not as important as our Greek. Our Greek needs tech to do better. But if we do not fix agriculture, and all we want to talk about is tech, 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 tech. I'm an engineer, but I have to be honest in this regard. If we do not fix agriculture, we're not going to grow. We have to get educated people into agriculture as much as possible. We have to reduce migration from the villages to the city by developing the villages so that younger people can stay back there for farming. We have to provide security to farmers. Government has to take security seriously in the rural areas. For us to prosper in agriculture in Nigeria, there must be security in the rural area. Now, there's a lot of improved security in the city area, but we have to do better in the rural area. We have to provide infrastructure. We have to provide amenities. I mean, just like look at some of these state governors spending a lot of money building city roads, intra-city roads that are not really expedient. Just overhead bridges, flyovers, just to steal and to also just have fun. What are you doing about rural development? If you don't develop the rural areas, agriculture will continue to go down. Agric will not develop. And if we don't develop agriculture, we're going nowhere. Agric alone can hire 50% of our population. Agric tech will not hire that number of people. Let's be honest. Oil and gas will not hire that number of people. Banking will not hire that number of people. Only agriculture can hire massive, massive, massive number of people. Agric alone can hire tens of millions of Nigerians. But if we don't provide amenities in the rural areas, if we don't provide security to farmers, and we focus only on city urban development, how do you expect the young people to stay there? They don't have electricity. They can't watch DSTV. They don't have good telecom. They don't have internet. How do you expect them to stay in the rural area? In America, many states are very rural. They are big in agriculture. But young people continue to stay in those states because they have amenities. Now, some people will still leave. I'm not saying we can keep everybody in the villages. No, many people will still come to the cities. But we have to make the villages attractive to a good number of young people so they can stay back there to farm with their parents. Let's get it clear. Tech is not going to fix it. Tech is not going to recruit 40 million. Tech is not going to create 40 million jobs in Nigeria. So you listen to these young people just saying, all we want the presidential candidates to talk about is tech, 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 or what are the big things? No. Let's talk about those supposedly dirty things. Agric is huge. And again, I'm acknowledging that it's time, it's time for us to take agric seriously. More importantly, I'm encouraging the young people to ask the gubernatorial candidates and presidential candidates what exactly they want, what exactly do you want to country for government? What do you want to do that they did not do? What do you want to do that? How, what step are you